The Museum of Artificial Histories presents Artificial Intelligence, an original, 3-part miniseries, as part of a large-scale virtual exhibition, exploring the human compulsion towards the invention and authorization of stories that tell us who we are, where we came from, and what the future may have in store for us. The Museum of Artificial Histories is an imaginary institution which exposes the fiction of authorized information, appropriating aesthetic strategies utilized by dominant knowledge industries. The museum excavates the mechanisms and infrastructures used to design and disseminate crammed narratives. Warning: the information contained within this video is not factual, and therefore not appropriate for audiences who believe in the indisputable authority of knowledge. Warning: there is no such thing as a fact. Episode 1. The Artificial Mother. Sample. In 1932, American psychologist Harry Harlow founded a primate laboratory at the University of Wisconsin-Madison and created the first monkey breeding colony in the United States. Using a large population of newly born monkeys as subjects, Dr. Harlow studied infant relationships by replacing their mothers with artificial surrogates, made of cloth and wire. After forcibly removing the infants from their biological mothers, Harlow introduced 2 distinct surrogates. The first, made of wire, contained milk, essential nutrients for the growing infant. The second, made of cloth, contained no milk, but did provide warmth and comfort. Artificial intelligence explores Harlow's depictions of the infant, in the absence of the mother, clinging to an artificial surrogate, in relation to the human compulsion to worship artificial deities, idols, and excavates the compulsion to create synthetic caregivers, in relation to the compulsion to create God. Episode 2. Skywalkers. Sample. During the Second World War, both American and Japanese armies utilized several of the Pacific Islands as strategic locations for air bases. The inhabitants of these islands were indigenous, many of them never having made contact with anyone from the industrialized world. What began as witnessing strange large metallic birds flying through the sky, these sightings aroused curiosity in the mythological imaginations of these islanders, who, utilizing their own theology, assumed they were spirits of their ancestors, coming to make contact. When the air bases were built on these islands, the indigenous inhabitants were introduced to American and Japanese soldiers, and their accompanying heavy machinery, helicopters, airplanes, advanced weapons, manufactured clothing, as well as a great deal of resources, including medicine, canned food, tents, and weapons in vast quantities. Through contact with these soldiers, the Pacific Islanders received them abundance of materiality, the likes of which they had never before encountered, and interpreted it as the generosity of their ancestors, rewarding their exemplary worship. After the war ended, many of the air bases were dismantled and abandoned, and Messianic Islanders began to mythologize their god's departure. In order to convince the gods of abundance and advanced materiality to return, cargo cults developed, led by charismatic tribes members. New religions began to form, and with them a host of new ritual behaviors were introduced. in order to entice the gods to return. And like our polytheistic ancestors, and the infant studied by Harlow, they built life-size replicas of the planes that once had landed on their soil. And they began ritually imitating the behavior of the Japanese and American gods, dressing in their garments, performing parade ground drills, utilizing artificial rifles, and carved artificial headphones made of wooden shells. They created fabricated control towers where they stood on watch for incoming planes, and cleared long-standing landing pads for the gods to use, if and when they should choose to return. Episode 3. Jurassic Park. Sample. In the early 20th century, the American Museum of Natural History unveiled a dramatic addition to its educational infrastructure: the Dinosaur Hall. Featuring life-size fossilized depictions of dinosaurs, attendance to the museum went up by 25%, as children and families flocked to witness a prototypical, scientifically authenticated Jurassic Park. However, experts were enraged because the fossils presented as authentic were in fact hybrid composites. At the time, it was incredibly rare to find a complete intact specimen, so most displays included bones from several different species of dinosaur, as well as plaster, fabricated bones, disguised by teams of technicians, to be indistinguishable from the real. Even now, new research suggests that a majority of dinosaurs were in fact feathered, challenging the fixed image of a scaled reptilian dinosaur produced by popular culture, endorsed by the alleged scientific authority of the museum. Artificial intelligence utilizes several tools in its excavations, including ancient religious texts, psychoanalysis, pop culture, and various countercultural discourses. Using artifice to reveal artifice, exposing the infrastructures and mechanisms used to design and disseminate grand narratives. Available online at www.museumofartificialhistories.com or via the Museum of Artificial Histories application, available for free download on the website or in the application store. The Museum of Artificial Histories. Disrupting the dominance of authorized information.